Hello, my name is Fong, and these are my two groupmates, Carly and Jace. And our honor project is on expanding the reach of West Volusia Audubon.
For our needs assessment, we really focused on how scrub jays are classified as a threatened species, and we wanted to come in doing something to help that. Looking into research, we found that one of the big problems facing the scrub jay as a species is a lack of suitable habitats. Some of the main plants that they tend to build their habitats in are the sand live oak, the Chapman oak, and the myrtle oak. These plants are really susceptible to development and being cut down, but they're also really slow to grow back, which explains how the habitat of the scrub jay has been so wiped out over time. So we came into this project with really a lot of ideas on what we could do to help. We came in thinking we were going to build birdhouses, which would be suitable habitats for the scrub jays. We thought about raising money and donating to scrub jay foundations like the Florida Scrub Jay Trail. But really the most useful thing we did was sit down and have an interview with Dr. Kittner, the vice president of West Volusia Audubon, and communicate and really just genuinely ask him what could be done to help.
Our overall goal was to bring awareness to the local DeLand-Deltona area near the Lyonia Preserve of the Florida Scrub Jays and of the West Volusia Audubon Society. When talking to Dr. Kittner, he expressed a need for us to help him send out postcards to the surrounding area that also had a link to a short 1-minute survey to report any recent scrub jay sightings.
This is really where the projects kind of diverged for us, where we had the same goal, but we were going about it in different ways. Dr. Kittner expressed a need to reach a younger demographic on Instagram, specifically the 18 to 24-year-old demographic. The West Volusia Audubon Instagram already existed, but was reaching a much older audience. So I wanted to log in and create Audubon content that appealed to a younger audience to change the engagement. I specifically set the goal to increase the percentage of 18 to 24-year-old followers from 2.3% to 15% to capture a much younger audience.
So our overall timeline was as follows. On March 1st was our first meeting with Dr. Kittner. On April 2nd is when our survey finally went live. April 9th, we wrapped up our last meetings with Dr. Kittner, and we also mailed out all of our postcards. During all that time in between, Carly was increasing the younger Instagram audience, and Fong and I were preparing and sending out the postcards to the residents within the 1-mile radius of Lyonia Preserve.
So discussing what I was doing with the Instagram is one of the first really important steps was to set up the Instagram as a professional account. Access to this age demographic data is not available to your average Instagram user, so an account has to be set up as professional to have access to that data. So that's what I did right away. I focused on making interactive content, which you can see in the top corner here, content that really appealed to people who hadn't previously been interested in Audubon and would just draw them in and make them feel welcome. This was made a lot easier by the fact that Dr. Kittner so kindly let me into his joint Canva account where I had access to premium materials to make the Instagram just pop even more and be aesthetically pleasing. And also at the end of the project and also all the way throughout, I was communicating with Dr. Kittner and collaborating on social media endeavors. He was using the advertising features on Instagram and also making content alongside me. So he was growing and understanding how the Instagram algorithm worked and how he could reach a younger audience. On the left here, you can see on the top that 2.3% of the audience was initially 18 to 24. This was as soon as I logged into the account and set up the professional data collecting. And on the bottom is what I ended with. So you can see that I actually exceeded my goal and reached 17.1% 18 to 24-year-old engagement with followers. And that also the data has skewed younger as an overall movement.
Since Carly is taking care of the social media aspect of this project, and me and Jace were taking care of the physical aspects, which is the postcard. We have to send out about 400. We have to send out postcards to residents around 1-mile radius of Lyonia Preserve, and the list of residents were chosen from a list of 6,000 randomly, and the purpose is to collect data on the sightings of the Florida scrub jays. And what's on the postcard? Well, on the front, we have an image of the Florida scrub jays for the purpose of easy identifying and help the residents identify the birds easier. And on the back, there are details on the project and linked to the surveys, and also included the residents' address we needed to send it to them.
So when since Fong and I were in charge of preparing and shipping the postcards, we had 464 total postcards, and we had to consult with the post office on pricing. We had to report that to Dr. Denner to get approval to actually get them all sent out. And once we had the approval for that, we were just able to ship the postcards out on campus.
So the survey, well, there are 3 parts to it. The first part is whether or not the resident have seen any of the scrub jays within the last 3 months. The second part is their street address as we need them. And the third part is if the residents is interested in knowing more about the scrub jay themselves, they can put in their emails and we will email more information regarding the scrub jays themselves to them.
So reflecting back on this project on what made it sustainable and would make it live past our involvement is data use for both of our aspects. Personally, for my part in the Instagram, the data collected about what appealed to younger audiences can be used on all social media platforms and to advise the West Volusia Audubon Society and how it can continue to reach a younger audience. And in regards to the postcard project, the data collected from people responding to the survey will help the West Volusia Audubon Society understand if scrub jays have migrated and if their population is growing. The social media training is also really important to helping this project live past our involvement because it allows Dr. Kintner to be more knowledgeable moving forward on how to use the Instagram, and it allows the Instagram to continue to grow and reach a younger audience. The postcards also increase the awareness of scrub jays in the community, which will live past our project, so people will be more aware of their status and just be able to recognize them better because they've seen it on the postcard and they've engaged with West Volusia Audubon content. In creating this project, we had to learn a lot as a group, especially in this pandemic style project. We had to learn how to communicate digitally, which very effectively. So we had to be really open and honest with each other when certain methods weren't working, if we needed new group chats, if we needed to hop on a video call to talk to each other face to face to really understand what we were going through. So that was something that was really important. Our project had to be adaptive. We came into this with completely different expectations about what we were going to be doing, and we had to hear out Dr. Kintner on what actually needed to be done. So being adaptive was super important to our project. And also playing to individual strengths, because obviously I was the one who was involved in social media because that's what I felt confident with. And Jason Fong felt much more confident with the postcard aspect. So we were doing different things, but reaching the same goal of helping to protect birds and advance the reach of West Volusia Audubon. And here is our abstract.